around the world and wherever you are watching us this moment, we sincerely want to thank you again for another time out on issues and trends where we evaluate, critique, analyze, discuss insightfully socio economic, political, cultural issues, policies of government, administrations, as it affects the impact of such policies and administrations' influence and impression on the public as we speak. And aside that, we also take a look, and I always use that word, evaluating very critically and insightfully those issues of concern that has to do with how this affects the entire citizenry of Lagos State and even beyond in terms of good governance, in terms of how service delivery equally benefits, and of course how the people must also connect the entire understanding of what government is doing at one time or the other to make life more meaningful, more comfortable, more convenient in whatever they do in their interfacing, interaction, in the engagement with public concerns as it concerns how government policies is affecting them. These are all of the issues we'll be looking at today. And today is not an exception. You want to say again, why land matters all the time? Or you want to ask, why has it got to do with land policy matters and administration in Lagos State? Well, you can understand that the reason is not far-fetched. And the reason is because we cannot underplay, we cannot equally undermine, neither can we underestimate the essence of lands, administration, policy matters in the state as it affects the good people of the citizenry of Lagos State, and more importantly, how government policy is changing the game in how business is done in the Lands Bureau. The very bureau, someone will say, and that is why once again we want to focus attention on the issue of land services and lands administration on the Lands Bureau in Lagos State. Well, my guest, you'll get to meet after this time out. Thanking you again for joining us on this very special edition again on Land Matters in Lagos State. All right, from the broadcasting station of Lagos Television, we are reaching you on that program platform, Issues and Trends. Again, thanking you for staying with us. Well, my guest today, I'm sure you want to ask, who is this guest here again today? Well, we are breaking the ice. We're not talking about men here today. We are talking about that common, universally accepted adage that what men can do, women can equally do better. So what am I talking about? She's a professional in her own right. She's an administrator par excellence. That is what we get to know, or we got to know, and we are convinced about that she's an administrator par excellence. She's equally a very disciplined person, a disciplinarian that gives attention to details in what she does. She's also very visionary in her thinking. She's also, of course, a goal-getter, and above all, an achiever of reckoning that her pedigree speaks volume about. She's first a registered surveyor and valuer, of course, with the Estate Surveyors and Valuers Registration Board of Nigeria. And of course, she's also, if you care to know, a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Public Administration of Nigeria, and aside being a fellow of the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers in Nigeria. Well, I'm talking about no less a person but Mrs. Yetunde Olanrewaju Olusegun. Before this time, she was the director, let me put it this way, she was a director in land services matters, but today, I think I'm getting it wrong. She was one-time director of acquisition, revocation, and compensation, and today she's serving in that competence, capability of that intellectualism of a person as a director of land services, Lands Bureau, the very bureau in Lagos State. Ma, it is a great honor to have you talk to us.
Thank you very much.
You are always very quiet when you're talking, very eloquent, but above it all, you always wow me in my interfacing with you. Well, it's good to have you again, and I'm proud that you're here to give us your audience.
Thank you, sir.
Now, let us get it right. From what I have with me, you're working with the Lands Bureau and you're the Director of Land Services. And when we look at the vision of what you represent as an institution of government, the vision is to be the platform for efficient land resources management, that promotes easy access to land and title registration in Lagos State as a vision. And the mission again has to do with entrenching a culture of excellence that ensures prompt and efficient service delivery anchored on the most current technology. It's quite interesting. And in it all, your core values represent professionalism, discipline, and integrity. As the Director of Land Services today, we are informed and we also know that your office is a key component of Lands Bureau, saddled with a lot of responsibilities. How do we key into that and how do you speak to that?
Thank you very much, sir. As you have said, Land Services is one of the core professional departments in Lands Bureau as a whole. We have 3 professional departments. Land Services is one. The other 2 are Land Regularization and Land Use and Allocation Committee. Those 2 platforms handle the first leg of land titling.
Handles the first
leg of land titling in Lagos State.
How do you mean?
Okay, for a land to get a title, the first base is either CFO or regularization that ends up in CFO2. But Land Services does the second leg of land titling.
The second leg of land titling.
Yes.
What your office deals
That is what we do, amongst other things. What do we mean by second leg of land titling? When there is a subsequent transaction on land, for instance, assignment, sublease, power of attorney, or mortgage, for it to be registered, placed on the existing route, you have to go to governor's consent on those subsequent transactions before it can be valid, before any owner can claim ownership on such, titles when it is registered in land registry. So that is what we do basically to process, such applications for governor's consent, because by virtue of Section 21 and 22 of the Land Use Act, it states that for any valid transaction, Sections 21 and 22 of the Land Use Act of 1978 talks about the fact that for a land to be duly perfected and registered, it must go through what we call governor's consent.
And if it doesn't go through governor's consent, what happens?
It could be termed as, not that valid, especially when it has to do with, litigations, or even when you want to deal with it on financial, basis. For instance, a mortgage that is not perfected, of course, is an equitable mortgage. It means that those financial institutions cannot really hold the mortgagors in court.
Yeah, we understand that.
Yes, sir. Cannot hold them cannot have
an accessibility to financial.
Yes, sir. Something like that.
Something like that.
Yes, sir. It means it's not a legally binding agreement.
So the validity of the governor's consent is the validity.
Yes, sir.
Valid.
That is valid.
Quite interesting to know. So what are the other things
that
you are saddled with?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So apart from processing of governor's application for subsequent land transaction, we deal with acquisition, revocation, and compensation matters of the state. We deal with rectification of titles. We are saddled with liaising with other MDAs in terms of consultancy services when it has to do with ownership of interest, carrying out even valuations when they want to know, what amount to be placed on some interests in land all over the state. For instance, this food hub in Idioro, yes sir, we were consulted. By the
Ministry of Agric.
Yes sir, we were contracted even to validate the ownership of that parcel of land, and after which to do a sort of value from government's point of view, what amount can be paid to the owners of the land. So such other MBAs consult us too in such regards.
An appropriate, as professionals.
As professionals.
A critical assessment, a critical value
yes,
of what that such assets
are.
For them
that
to be
government,
able to...
Yes, especially when there is a private treaty agreement, when the land is free, but government needs it for a particular purpose, overriding public interest. Yes, sir.
Or like we do say.
Yes, sir. Overriding public interest. There is need to determine the amount, above which government will not take the land. So we do that, for MDAs.
Will be seen to do what is necessary to be done.
Yes, sir. Before you
acquiring
such properties that are free, but those ones that are already in acquired areas. For instance, we have 7,300 acres acquisition. If government really wants to use, government can use, then there are some people, that is where compensation comes in.
We are coming to compensation.
Okay, sir.
Don't let me
okay,
jump the gun.
It's okay.
But let me bring you back to the word you just used. You just used a very good choice of word that attracts my attention here. Liaison. That you liaise with other MDAs.
Yes, sir.
Which of the MDAs are that? What partnership or synergy or collaboration do you have with this MDA to work? What are the MDAs we're looking at?
Okay, sir. For instance, physical planning. There are some instances that they call on us to carry out certain valuation works for certain land that need to be acquired. Then even in terms of acquisition, revocation, compensation matters, we work hand in hand with physical planning, Ministry of Works and Infrastructure. We work with special duties, Ministry of Agric, several like that. Even environment, because there are some parcels of land that are abutting drainages, and there's always need to confirm, to what extent, or if such land are really, fit for, whatever use they have come up, to get governor's consent on. So we interface with most agencies. Anything land is the base.
That's right.
Of any other development or whatever.
That's right.
And that is why, even in the Teams Plus agenda of this administration, land comes in as a 21st, making Lagos 21st century economy.
That's right.
Anything economy whatsoever, the baseline is land.
My understanding here, Ma, if you don't mind me,
yes, sir,
is seeing very clearly the scope of your responsibilities and of course the work you do. And the expansion is so large that it's very challenging in connecting with all of these scenarios you've kind of painted to us. But plus minus, have you been able to really ensure that plus minus, addition, subtraction, the equation here or there, that we get it right at all times, that you must do what you should do as your duties?
Thank you, sir. Nobody can say that is a full authority as to getting it right. What happens is that, we are work in progress and we are not static.
A work in progress and you are not
static. We are not static. We evolve with time and, of course, with capacity building, development, and trying to be abreast of, things happening all around us. Most importantly, ease of doing business and, international best practices. We need to be abreast at all times. And thank God that Land Services, considering the fact that it's purely a professional department, is equipped with a large number of professionals that are professional land officers that are certified. Even in the Lands Bureau now, this department has the highest number of, these professionals that are land officers.
In their core areas of specialization.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. In their core areas, and which is really what we are talking about.
No, I'm already very, very, very much connected with all you've been saying, and I give my due respect to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Now, let us cascade down to one thing here before I go into some of your areas.
Yes, sir.
You talked about the ease of doing business.
Yes, sir.
And you also talked about international best practices. How does this drive you? How does this propel you? And how does this give you that authorization to say, yes, I must be able to live above board in all of the elemental ways that you connect with, the MDAs you partner with, you liaise with, and every other do in satisfying the public interest, because they are also at the receiving end of all of what government does.
Sir.
How does this push you to achieve your goals?
You made mention of something very important when you started. The fact that Lands Bureau is known for professionalism, discipline, and integrity. And these three, are really the main aim of ease of doing business, because we serve the public. Absolutely. So we must be abreast as professionals, do things in professional way, be disciplined to the extent that you do what is right when it is right, and be smart while doing it. And then your integrity, smart
while doing it.
How do
you connect with that?
Whatever, yes, sir. Be specific, all our projects and activities must be measurable. It's not that everything is just at large like that without it, being yes, sir, without a connection. Then it must be, realistic, very realistic, to ensure that it is real, it is timely, and then it's, it is what is expected, and it's real time. Very, very important, sir. Very important.
Very, very important.
Yes, sir.
Before I take you into other areas, let me give this submission here so that we just let go with that. If I need to have governor's consent,
yes, sir,
what should I ask? In line with my interest, what should I have?
Okay.
Or what should Lagosians have in mind to do or must have for them to get or have that interest of theirs approved by government?
Okay, sir.
To have the governor's consent.
Thank you, sir. Over the years, it has been trimmed down, because we must feel the pulse of the people and know that is part of the ease of doing business, and all that. Know what it is at a time. All the stakeholders, you must have their, sync. And, as we speak right now, we have requirement for governor's consent, and it's in the domain, public domain. When you visit Land Online, it's there. The requirements are there. Even on our website, everything is stated there.
On the website.
On the website. And even if you walk in, we have our booklets, either Lands Bureau as a whole or even the department.
Your information kit.
Yes, sir. We have it.
Yes, sir. Access to understand.
To understand everything that is needed, and then the workflow. Because from 2021, we have migrated to doing things electronically. In 2021, we started hybrid, whereby you bring in your requirements, and then the office assists to upload and deal with it through our digitization unit before it comes here to Land Services, and we work on it. as you know, case by cases. Yes, sir, unlike in those days. Though right now, what we are doing is that because before 2021, there were backlogs of manual applications. So thank God, you know, the bureau, the management agreed that those ones should be completed as they are, so as not to just, you know, lump everything up together. But effective from that November, to be precise, 2021, we stopped receiving manual applications. Everything is received online. And when we
with global best practices,
sir,
which is part of the core values here.
Yes, sir. Okay. Then even last year we went, the portal was launched, so it means that even from your room or your offices, you can
convenience of your
comfort, you can even log into the online web and then log in your applications. And the portal is so beautiful that you can even interface with it and know step by step where your application or matter is at what, you know, point in time.
All right, don't let me take you through this because that's not your purview here, but at least we can reference it. Now let's come to one of the key areas. Having governor's consent is one thing.
Yes, sir.
But basically, acquisition and revocation matters is very key. And there have been complaints from the public as to how government is addressing this concern. You know, we know of, I can say this authoritatively, there is a case now at Ekpe concerning this issue of someone, you know, harassing, or that has to do with land matters, revocation or acquisition. There's been this trouble, you know, between the families and some other people. And this is under your purview.
Yes,
but the problem is, how do we address this? And what are you really doing? What steps have you taken? Or are you taking, or should be taken, for the public to understand the technicalities involved in this and how this, of course, can be resolved when it comes to you playing your role as
Thank you very much, sir.
Body.
ARC, as it is referred to, acquisition, revocation, compensation, is a huge thing on its own that involves lots of processes. It does not just start and end here. Once the directive is given that, you know, government has taken over for overriding public interest, it could be for road expansion, it could be for provision of facilities, for instance, hospitals.
For the good of the people.
The good of the people. The first thing we do as a matter of importance is to, first of all, identify this stretch whereby, you know, physical planning takes us and works towards its own. After which we come back, we do what we call reconnaissance survey. After that, sir,
can you explain reconnaissance survey?
So to know the extent, the boundary, the perimeter, and, you know, what the extent of whatever acquisition, what it covers. And then the office now go back to do what we call enumeration. The enumeration exercise is now to calculate, analyze, and that is where we land officers are.
Calculate, analyze. What are you calculating? What are you analyzing?
Thank you, sir.
The public may be asking us that.
To calculate, you need to know to what extent, like I said earlier, and do your own measurements with your tape and, you know, other instruments to know to what extent, and then in terms of sizes, and then in terms of the physical structure, what is really affected by this acquisition, what is affected, and how are we going to do the valuation. Because even the Land Use Act section 28 and 29 specifies what should be done when government acquires and what kind of compensation method should be used. So after that is the field work. We now come back, then the affected persons, they, you know, send in their claims. What do we mean by claims? Your rights over such land, your interest, you know, if it's CFO, if it's a letter of administration, whatever document you have, you forward it. After you have forwarded that, we do our calculation while we wait for Office of the State Surveyor General to give us what we call a survey description. These are the things that will help us to now do what we call revocation notice. These notices will be sent to the governor's office, who is the one that signs. Before it is, the revocation notices is sent to the applicants. After which, the compensation calculated is also sent to the office of Mr. Governor for his approval.
That survey thing you referred to from the Office of the Surveyor General, what does it give you? What insight does it give you?
It gives the dimension, delineation of what is, acquired. Though a layman would not even really be able to understand it. But this is what is said. The Surveyor General's
office will guide you
as
to the appropriateness,
exactness
of the size of the
that is affected, that is going to be used for the for this overriding public interest, as it affects each property owner.
Yes, and that connects to what the Surveyor General's office was saying, that you have a connection.
We have connection, yes, sir. That is always the first base. Without their input, there is nothing we can do.
Without the input of
Surveyor General's office, without their own information in whatever form, there is nothing the office, land services, or any other department in Landsborough can even do in terms of either isolated cases or global cases.
And that makes the office of the Surveyor General
the first point of call. Yes, sir.
Before you take any process.
Before we take any action whatsoever, because their own information will inform us as to what line, the next line of action to take.
Their information.
Their information. Yes, sir. That is their land information. Yes, sir.
So we're looking at all of this issue of acquisition and revocation. You are still making a point concerning that.
Is even approved. It doesn't translate to money, and that is where the public needs to.
It doesn't translate.
It doesn't translate to money.
What do you mean?
The approval of Mr. Governor will go to its own process again. The legal Minister of Justice have to do their work by way of indemnity bond. Without the indemnity bond being signed, by way of calling the applicants and knowing if rightly this particular person is the owner of this parcel of land, there's nothing we can do. We have so many counterclaims.
Yet another collaboration with another agency of government.
Ministry of Justice. We cannot do without them too.
They are very important.
They are very, very, because any land matter thing, of course, has its own legal implications.
My concern in asking you all of this is when you hear the public complain.
Yes,
they
sir.
ask some stupendous questions, and you begin to ask, even where it is very glaring for everyone to see that the government is doing a lot by its policy to serve even their own interest. But when you hear their complaints, they say a lot of things that you begin to ask, is it to say government is not giving them opportunities, or is not even doing the right thing? So how do you make them understand this?
We dialogue. We dialogue with them at intervals. Before now, government business was a little bit shrouded in secrecy, because you cannot, as a public servant, we can't even, there's a little extent to what you can say to the public. But thank God, in times like this, you can really talk, especially with the buying of the permanent secretary.
Talk for them to know what is going on.
What is really going on.
How they can approach it, or they can.
Yes, and then the fact that they need patience. They need patience, because the processes must go as it should go.
Through the normal procedure.
Yes, sir. Through the normal procedures. As we speak, sir, we have a lot of litigation cases concerning these compensation matters. People are saying some other people have, taken their what's supposed to be theirs. We have counterclaims, even families, rivalry. They will come. This one has taken the money. It's supposed to be this person. Lots of issues, even at House of Assembly right now as we speak. Our officers are even going there today, almost on daily basis. We go there to address land issues.
Concern.
Yes, sir. So it's not as if the office is not empathizing with the public. We know.
It is well the way it should be done.
But we need to do it the way it should be done so that everybody will be at peace, so that they will not say one government official, connived or collaborated with some other people to. We have seen
we cannot
all kinds of things.
Blame government.
We cannot. We cannot.
It is them very self that has to resolve.
Yes, sincerely. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have lots of, counterclaims, and objections that need to be addressed even before you can make payment to an an aggrieved to whoever, sir.
You must clear all of that.
We need to clear all of that.
Lead to challenges in the parliament.
Yes, sir.
So it's not as easy as they are thinking now.
It's not as easy as that, sir.
But they are making it look as if, no, it is just a direct thing that it just comes like that to them.
It doesn't come like that. All these things still has to go to STO. Even after clearing all this, it goes to STO for approval, to release funds. Account still has to do to verify, whoever, the claimant, and confirm, if there are BVN and all that. So, and there are different issues in all of this.
So again, back to what you said, that you liaise with every MBA.
We liaise.
If you don't liaise with them, there could be problems.
There could be. You are on your own, sir.
And how you do that.
Yes, sir.
The Ministry of Justice.
The
SGO
is there.
The Office of the Surveyor General.
Surveyor General is there. Commerce, even Minister of Commerce.
A lot involved in this.
Yes,
process.
Sir. A lot.
Now, in it all, how do we now submit in your submission resolving the issue of revocation matters and acquisition in your own submission? What will summarize what you want to say concerning when you look at all of these challenges we've just said?
The public should help us to help them. That is always what I say.
The public should help
us.
The government
to help them. Yes, sir.
When you are asking them to help you, what should they do?
They should put their house in order and ensure they bring, right documents, and then the right people that should, even take this money.
When they are to be compensated.
When they are to be compensated, sir.
You see, this issue of compensation has always been a subject of interest.
Yes, sir.
And of course, reports on as a front burner in the media when people say, no, the government just took our land and they are not doing it. And whereas the contrary is the case. And yet they create contradictions and even wrong reports out there. And there is this call on the government to give publication or publicity, or to let the world also see when actions like that are being done for the override interest of what they are doing. That compensation matters should be a public matter of interest as well. Do you agree with?
I agree, sir. We have talked about it even with the permanent secretary, and we're already working on even addressing the next set of people to be compensated is going to be made, public with,
with a lot of report about it.
All the stakeholders, yes, would be involved. So we are working on that. You know that government business is not just you say it, and it has to go through the processes of approval.
An engagement interfacing going on now to ensure that
yes, sir.
all compensation matters should be of public interest.
Yes, sir.
And of course should be of knowledge to everyone.
Yes, sir. There's
so that nobody will claim that government is not doing what
yes, sir. There's a conversation on table right now. That. Yes, sir.
And the assurances we're getting there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, man, let us look at a very interesting one. Some villagers will say, no, permit me, the government just came to take our land, and in this concern, they're telling us that we must leave, by all means necessary, we must evacuate, that it is government has taken possession. I'm sure you come across this every day.
Yes,
and this also is what you must also address. So how are you tackling issues like this?
It's still part of what we are talking about: acquisition, revocation, compensation. Government will not naturally, just jump into people's land. Our people, most of us are not well informed
They are not well informed.
Not well
They
informed.
must be informed.
They must be informed. What I mean by that is that you don't just, as a citizen, you don't just jump on land without proper necessary information
Or investigation. Or curiosity.
Yes, sir.
Or findings.
Somebody cannot just tell you, this is my land, I want to sell it to you, and then you just buy, without going through the process of confirming the status of those land. That is where we have a lot of these problems.
Confirming the status is very key.
Very important. Most of those lands that you see are under acquisition, either global acquisition, 7,300 acquisition, that Lekki corridor, most of them, we have Lekki acquisition, we have global acquisition covering all those areas. But this, some people will just come and say they are the owners of the land and just start selling. You find out that most of the people saying government has taken their land, they don't have even title on those lands. Somebody would have just conjured up certain things and say, ah, this is my land. And because they see money, they will, without you asking, where is what document do you have? So that is why I said information is very important. Before you go into any land, the first point of call is land survey general survey, to know the status of this land. You just say, because certain people say it is our land, we have been here, you now take it hook, line and sink and release your money. When government now comes, says, I want to use my land that I've acquired, there will not be issues. If you recollect, sir, some years back, government had to start doing jingles all over the place, saying that, you know, those lands, some people, you know, they started putting signages all over the place that this is their land, and they will be giving some numbers that they are the owner. So government started, you know, denouncing all that don't buy acquired land, come to lands, go to Surveyor General to confirm these lands. So those are the issues.
Sincerely, I'm really well informed. I'm getting more educated in this matter, and I must say that I must appreciate your deep insight into giving us all of these, sharing these details with us concerning what must be done, what we should know, and of course not at any time putting blames on government, challenging government, speaking bad of government when you've not done the right thing that you should have done in the first instance, to know whether the step you're taking is right or wrong, or is legal or illegal, before your complaints here and there. So back to what you said, that they should help you. They should help you by helping themselves. Or how did you put the word?
They should help us to help them.
They should help government to help them.
Yes, sir.
So by now ensuring you take the first step, know the status of the land you want to acquire.
Yes,
so they
sir.
shouldn't blame government. Should they blame government?
They shouldn't. They shouldn't. Because the awareness is really there. And you
this
should
one
know.
is part of what we are saying, that
Yes,
this should
sir.
always come to you.
Yes, sir.
So, now, land policy formulation is also very key.
Yes,
I know
sir.
that, but before I go there, let's look at this case study. The special advisor to Mr. Governor on AGIS and urban development, Dr. Babatunde, did say concerning the computer village at Ikeja, its relocation back to somewhere in Katangwa, that place, as we speak, still remain a residential area by government-owned
The
documents,
master plan, yes.
master plan. And for that reason, it is illegal, it is not right for them to be where they are, turning it to a commercial residence, a commercial place,
yes,
settlement as it is. In such situations, concerning the use of your office in this regard, that step is seen as a right step in the right direction. But how do some other people understand it? Because some are saying, no, they still have a right to be there when they shouldn't be there. Do you agree with that?
I don't agree. And it boils down to what we have been saying. You have to be well informed. You know, somebody will just go there, settle there. Once they see the person, all others will start to, and it will now become a community of illegalities, sir. the master plan you talked about would help you to know. So you need to go to government offices to determine or to know what it is for particular areas before you jump into it, sir.
So as Director of Land Services, how do we now know which land is not under acquisition? What are the things to look for or should be done to understand that no, it is a no-go area? What do you say to that?
Sir, Surveyor General has information of land in the state. Office of the Physical Planning on developmental matters have master plans of what should be in each area, sir. So there is no excuse.
For me, I should now, for the public, they should take advantage of such opportunities.
Yes, sir. These offices are open. Even us, when we receive applications, the first thing we do after having opened a file for such application, the first thing, no matter who you are, the first thing is to refer such application to Office of the State Surveyor General to confirm the status of the subject land. So no application is received there without a survey plan, first and foremost. And that survey and the title is sent. That is the first thing. Nobody will give you any advice whatsoever without, Surveyor General's input.
Who does contrary is at his own risk.
At your risk, sir.
Just like that.
Like that, because we have rules.
So there can't be any blaming game with the government.
No blaming game, sir.
All right, let's take another quick break here. We'll be right back. And I'm sure you've just heard what we've said. It is your first duty to ensure that you do the right thing at the right time. If you must access property in the state, you must acquire one. Have you taken time? That's the question. Have you taken time to visit the Office of the State Surveyor General in Lagos State to know the status of the land you want to acquire? Ask yourself this question. Then have you taken pains again to look at other windows available to you rather than just take decision of your actions? Well, we'll come back to talk about this when we come back after this break. We'll be right back shortly. So welcome back, and if you're just joining us, it's Issues and Trends with a very special guest here today, Estate Surveyor Yetunde Olanrewaju Olusegun, Director of Land Services, Lands Bureau, the very bureau in Lagos State. And I did say earlier that she's a registered surveyor and valuer, and aside that, she is a fellow, Chartered Institute of Public Administration of Nigeria. She's equally, in her own right, a fellow Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers. And today we are looking at land matters in line with our office, since she's the Director of Land Services, and what they do, how they do it, and what you, the public, should know. And of course, be able to get things right in trying to acquire property in the state. Madam, we thank you again for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Now, a concern here has to do with rectification. It seems to be very simple as a word, but it is loaded with a lot of processes and understanding of how this works. How do you speak to that?
Rectification came about when there are errors, especially in already registered interests.
When there are errors in already
either by omission, yes, sir,
registered
interests in landed properties. For instance, now there is a CFO that there is an error in the survey as regards a coordinate or size.
Can you explain that better? Coordinate.
The coordinate. That is the location of the sites.
Okay.
When there's a subsequent.
I keep asking this to simplify it for those watching.
Yes, sir.
So they won't say it is too much grammar.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
When there is differential in the location, when it is charted, there will be need to correct. That is what is known as rectification. It could even be rectification of name. You know that at a time you could go away with 2 names instead of 3. For instance, my name, Yetunde, I could do Yetunde Olusegun in time past. But after about 5-10 years back now, they started talking about 3 names, especially when, this single line accounting started. 3 names. If there are errors or there are omissions, you can correct that by way of rectification. So those are the instances
of what you need to do.
Of
So
rectifying
how do I
document.
not do that if I have to do my
Okay.
rectification
Okay, sir.
as a property owner in the state?
You apply. Number 1, we have requirement for rectification,
Which are?
which are number 1.
Or I can go
query.
online and get
It
that?
should be online.
Okay.
Everything is online. We are migrating from all these
The analog
manual
to,
analog.
where
So
we
all
can
our
do that.
requirements, processes, what needs to be done, frequently asked questions, what is necessary,
They can access all that.
access online, sir.
So when I do that, then what comes next for the
It is
rectification?
processed.
For how
It
long
has
will
to
it
go
take?
to Surveyor General's office.
How long will it
if
take
it is
for it to be
private land.
processed?
Within 2 months, all things being equal.
Given our current, present digitization procedures that we now do?
Yes, sir. Actually, currently, rectification is still done manually. They're still working on, migrating it to, the portal.
Okay, but plus minus, it can take us
2-3 months because it goes to survey, especially if it is a private land. If it's state land, it doesn't go to survey.
If it is private, it goes
It
to
has to
survey.
go to survey to
Why
determine.
the difference? Why?
Because private lands are not land that government has any input in the delineation and all that. But state land or state allocation are government allocations. For instance, Ikeja GRA, Magodo GRA is government's own initiative. So the plan, the survey, everything is domiciled even in land use and allocation committee, sir.
My question here may be very stupid, but please
Ah,
pardon
it's
me.
okay.
It's just for me to be informed. Today we have dotted in the architecture of the schemes we have. All of these are private-owned built estates, though with government acquisition or permission. We have them dotted all over Lekki and other places. How does that connect in all of this balancing of this equation?
What you're talking about is all those large parcels of land. That's
this estate, that estate, within the land
yes,
space
sir.
of the
Having
estate.
gotten the right approvals, they are good to go.
They are good to go.
Yes, sir.
It's nothing to worry about.
Nothing with right approvals.
With right approvals.
approvals.
Like we've been saying.
Like we've been
It has
saying.
nothing to do with
Yes, sir. And that is why you even see Commissioner for Environment going around, even in that Lucky corridor, to talk about certain, because some of them would have even extended beyond the approvals they are given. And that is why we are having issues of, cutting and destroying certain properties.
Because it's gone beyond the approval.
Yes, they would have gone beyond
the
approvals.
they were given. And that raises concern to the state government.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we must let you go. I can see that we've been able to talk at length concerning the purview of your jurisdiction in land services matters under the Lands Bureau, the very bureau, and the public should understand how this connects and how they can access your services through your own office to be able to get the right thing to do. So if you must leave us, what would be your parting words at this time, please?
It's that you are doing a good one. I'm even surprised that we're able to, say certain things on land administration and management. We're even looking at your books.
Thank you
It
so much.
shows that you are well informed. It's good. And I
to
want
the
to say
public, what will you
kudos.
tell them?
I would just say they should bear with us. We empathize with them because either we like it or not, as officials, we are part of the public.
The
We are
larger
just-
society.
Yes, sir.
Aside being government officials.
Aside being government
we are still
officials,
part of
we are
the
part of
communal
them.
life. We must
Yes, sir. We are just here today, and it's to make things easy for them. That's why we are, you know, government officials, civil servants. We are serving them. All we do is for the purpose and the good of every citizen of the state, sir.
But they must do the right thing.
They must do the right thing.
And the right thing is, again?
Is to be well informed and, you know, go through the process as they should to help us.
I thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Well, we have said all we need to say, and I'm sure that you've been well informed, and you, of course, get to know better now what you have to do when it comes to acquiring land property in the state. We have it on the screen, the numbers to call, the website to visit. You also have it clearly there. If there are challenges, you can come even here to ask questions, go to the right offices, and of course the calls are there for you to make. Log in into the portal as well, and of course you get all of this. So why, if the government has made this thing easier for you in the comfort of your home, why don't you just let's together be on the same page with the government, while understanding the government as well that it's committed to serve the overall public interest in giving you best services, but at the same time you also must do the right thing at the right time to enjoy the services that government has also given you the right to at this time. Well, this is the much we can talk about today on land matters and administration in Lagos State. We'll come your way same time again on same issues, because it is a series. We just wanted to get it right so that we can always do the right thing. We'll see you again same time next week. Thanks for watching.